Oh crap! Hold on, I'll put the microphone on. Sorry about that, everybody. I got thrown by the technology.
Updates. Gosh,
Technology
every time we turn
updates.
this on, we need updates.
All right, hold on.
Gotta be, you know, the most technologically advanced system possible for streaming. That's us.
Yep.
We're
Hi,
as
Joey.
professional as you can possibly get.
Yeah, we came rolling in real quick. Like, let's get going.
Yes.
Mic check, Steve, please.
All right, we're outside again, but today it's not as hot. Thankfully, we've got a little cloud cover, so it's there's some shade. There's some, you know, it's not too bad.
Hi, Beverly.
Beautiful day today. Hey, Mom.
It was supposed to rain right now, but luckily it held off, so we got lucky.
Yes, yes. Today's gonna be a good day. We got a lot of information. This one may run a little longer than our normal 30 to 40 minutes. We'll see. Maybe, maybe not. Depends on, you know, how much we get into it.
How much we make up.
I'm not making anything
No,
up.
I'm not. Trust me.
So, I hope everybody can hear us well.
Yeah.
We are over on Trammell Street today, which is just south of the Marietta Square and a little north of the Hilton Marietta Conference Center.
Yep.
So, on that same side of the Powder Spring Street.
We're really not that far from Henry Park, which it's literally up there. And if you haven't watched that video, we did do one on Henry Park.
We did.
It's on YouTube now. And literally the loop is just like right behind us. It's not very far. But you really can't hear it from here.
No, it's
like,
very quiet.
It's very quiet.
Peaceful over here.
So,
welcome to this week's version of History Loves Company I'm Amy Reed, curator at the Marietta Museum of History, and along with me, as always, is
Christa McKay, the collections manager. So we picked this place because it's a great story of historic preservation in Marietta, and it's also I think it's one of those places people drive past and like, there's a lot of houses like right there. Why? And so that's
they're all painted
the same color, but they don't look like they should be together outside of the paint color. Like that's really, so yeah, and I think you and I both obviously knew about it, but we didn't know the detailed history. Like
right. We kind of knew a little bit, and that the houses were not originally here. Most of them. One of them was.
One of them, yeah.
But most of the houses were not originally built in this location, so we'll get into that.
Yes. A Victorian Village, just an overview, is an apartment complex made up of historic homes that are the apartments, which doing that is not something unusual because a lot of older homes were subdivided as boarding houses.
Yeah,
so
true.
it's not,
especially in the 40s.
Yeah,
with
for
all
sure.
the bell workers coming in for World War II. Yeah.
Right. Well, and actually, remember we were talking about it when we did the artist house.
Yes.
She had divided it up
That's
in the
right.
1930s.
Well, true. Depression era. You need
Depression
extra
era.
income. Yeah.
And you see it a lot with women who have been widowed and they still have the house and they need to. They have no source of income, so they would rent out rooms.
Right.
And so they might not subdivide it the way it's done now, but they would have rented the rooms out. We are not going to be going inside. They are apartments. People are living there. Well, maybe. If we can't, because some of them are being renovated. We did go in yesterday.
I did see some doors open. I mean, we're not going into the actual apartments, but they have hallways.
Yes.
Which are like public spaces.
Sure.
Yes.
I took pictures yesterday. So
and we did get permission from the company that owns this property to be on that site and to wander around video. So.
Okay, so when we walk around, this property's got, at this point, 8 buildings divided into apartments. All but one is historic.
Correct.
Let's put that in quotes.
Correct.
Depends on how you term historic, but 3 of the 4 are over 100 years old. The other one, 4?
4.
Yeah, I had to think about that. Sorry.
4.
No, the parsonage.
4.
Oh, yeah, the parsonage is. I forget what year it is.
4 are over 100 years old.
4 are over 100. One was built in 1988, and the other 3 are 90 plus years old.
Yeah. They're coming up on 100.
Yeah. So, so I'm gonna. There were some workers in front of the building first, so that's why I didn't flip around. But I just want to show you guys which house we're standing in front of because we didn't. There it is.
Yes. There's the first one we're going to talk about. In just a minute, we'll get to the history of that house. That's one of the Trammell homes, and it's the one that you can see easiest from the street as you drive past on Trammell Street. You'll notice this house, but notice the yellow and gray color scheme there. That's the same color scheme you're going to see on all the houses, and that way you know that they're all part of this complex here.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. I wanted to do that while there wasn't any workers in front because I don't know when they're coming back.
Right.
Okay, so historic preservation wise, the house you just saw is what I would deem the anchor house. This was the Trammell property, and then over time, in the late 1970s, the property was purchased by a man named Dr. Phil Sechrist. Some people might know that name. Noted local historian, noted historic preservationist.
Was a professor at Kennesaw State University.
And Southern
teacher,
Poly, too.
And Southern Poly.
Yeah, and he did, he said somewhere that he did 1 year with the Cobb County schools.
I think so.
But in administration, not
Oh,
necessarily.
okay.
But somebody else, if that's wrong, please let me know. That. But anyway, so he and his wife, sorry, it's going to get sunny, he and his wife, Kay, had bought and preserved the Stanley House and the Marlowe House.
Both on Church Street.
Yep.
In Marietta.
And both are, they were bed and breakfast, event rentals.
Still are.
Still are, yeah. So they had taken their turn doing those two houses, came over, preserved the Trammell house, this large property, and then in the late 1970s, there was a property on Whitlock and the Loop. It's where I guess it's Truist now, right? Or is it still a SunTrust?
Oh,
I don't know. It's the bank.
I'm a Wells Fargo gal myself.
It's the bank across the street from the Methodist Church and the Walgreens.
Yes.
A bank
next to the Whitlock Inn.
Yes.
Next door.
Yeah. So that whatever bank it was originally purchased that land, and that land had two houses on it, which we'll see in a minute. One being the Benson house and one being the Baker house. So instead of tearing them down and just building the bank said, well, what can we do? And they went to, at that time, the Downtown Marietta Development Authority, DMDA.
Correct.
Which is still in existence today, and said, okay, how can we preserve these buildings? DMDA worked with Dr. Sechrist to get the two homes moved to this property where we're at.
And this is the same time period as well, I'll interject that they also were working on preserving our building, the Kennesaw House Hotel, which Harrison Merrill, who was involved in this project, also was involved in renovating and preserving the Kennesaw House, where our museum is.
And it wasn't just like those two projects. Yeah, no, you're right.
Within 5 years.
No, same time period.
Same time.
Marietta Station, the depot, our building, in parts of the square. It was a massive effort to
Late
restore
70s, early
Marietta.
80s, big push. Bravo!
Yay!
Bravo!
So,
80s.
Yeah. I mean, two other great things came out of the early 80s here as well. So we're cool with that. So the preservation project, they moved the houses here. Actually, if you don't mind grabbing that clipboard. Yeah. They moved the houses over here. And moving houses from one location to another is not the easiest thing to do. You can ask our friends at Cobb Landmarks, who are also involved in historic preservation, how that goes, because they have moved a building or two.
I think Trevor was on earlier. We'll see.
If not, we'll tag him later. But hold on, let me see if I can find this picture. So, actually, let me show you kind of an idea. Actually, can you flip?
I can.
Because we realized last week.
Camera woman.
Okay, so these two properties, I don't know what happened to this one, but these two properties are the ones that got moved.
So let's show them Whitlock.
Here's Whitlock.
Yeah, and then heading...
The Loop would be like here.
Right here. So, correct. So, going this... Where's my hand?
Oh, there it is. Right there.
This way towards the square. This way towards the square. So the bank is on this corner here. The church is all right here. That would be the church. Yeah.
So, okay, so... Let's see if I can find them. I put them in here somewhere. I just don't want to get to... here we go. This is what happens when you have to move buildings.
Come a little closer.
Oh, sorry. That better?
Back up. Yep, right there.
So you see, you got to have cranes. You got to have line workers.
That's right. They're pulling up the power lines. Got an old truck pulling the house down the road.
Yep.
Is that Powder Spring Street?
Yeah, the Loop. Yeah, that
Loop.
whole area. Yeah. And then, did I bring the other one? And then I actually have the Benson home, but if I can't find it right now, I'll find it in a minute. All right, so anyway, let's flip back. I'll find it in a minute, guys. I'll show it to you when we go over to that house.
Okay.
So Dr. Sechrist has this property, brings all these houses here, turns them into apartments, and originally called them Charleston Gardens. I don't know why. That's kind of a stupid name.
Maybe you like Charleston.
Anyway, then it becomes Trammell Square.
Correct.
So a lot of people from the 80s might remember that name, Trammell Square. Well, in 1988, Dr. Sechrist runs for and wins the office of Cobb Commission Chairman. And we all know politicians are under heavy scrutiny all the time. And it was Dr. Sechrist was not one to not be a part of that. So it comes out in the early 1990, that he owes lots of money on this property.
Bum, bum, bum.
And so the banks foreclose on this property. Then it's auctioned off, and then it's bought by different management companies, and it turns into Victorian Village, which is what it is today.
It is today, and it's still run by a management company of some sort.
Yeah, and then Victorian Village is actually something it's like a name you see across the country for apartment complexes that have older homes.
Okay.
Because I typed that in and I got a whole slew of things. But yeah, so Victorian Village, our effort at historic preservation for buildings. And when we walk up to some of the houses, yay for historic preservation. Today, 40 years later, it needs a little bit more preservation.
Needs some TLC. When we get closer, we came over yesterday and kind of scouted the area and looked around, and it needs some TLC, a lot of these homes. It's privately owned, so I don't know how much power, I'm not a historic preservationist. But
I think some of it, though, is not necessarily the original building that needs it. You'll see when we go to another spot, there are some things that aren't original that it might have just not. These houses were built to last. For sure. So let's walk over. Amy and I, we can do whatever you want. We divided and conquered all this property because this is a lot of information to learn.
While we're here and I've got a heavy book to pick up,
you do have a heavy book.
Let's just stand here. I can move to the front so the house is behind me.
Do you want to move over to the shade a little bit?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to move us over. Here, actually, you can look at the house instead of my face when I do that. That's a little bit better.
Okay. I'm still going to be in the sun.
Well, hold on. I can scoot.
The point was to get me in the shade.
You have a hat on. I don't care. There you go.
Am I good?
You're good now.
Okay. So we started our research with this house, with a lot of the houses that we look at, with this book, Marietta, the Gem City of Georgia, by Douglas M. Fry.
That's
Frey.
There you go. There you go.
It is a gorgeous book. Gorgeous coffee table book, just full of all the historic homes in Marietta, a lot of the historic homes in Marietta, a lot of the larger historic homes in Marietta. It doesn't really go into more of the middle to lower class vernacular, but it's still a beautiful book. And so this house is in it.
Yes.
But first, before we get to that house, just up the road, and actually I didn't save the picture of it in here, there's another Trammell house that is privately owned by Doug. Yep. And it's what most people think of when they think of the Trammell house. And so to give a little history of this property, you have to look back at the house that's 2 doors down here. And that property was built by, get his name right?
Trammell.
I know I need his name.
Oh.
First name. Leander Newton Trammell. Okay,
Yep.
So this was a guy, I'm not going to go into a lot of history with him, but basically he was in Marietta after the war. It says he did his most valuable work for the state in 1867 and 1868, so after the Civil War, when he was selected as a member of the State Constitutional Convention. In 1870, he was elected to represent his district to the state Senate, and afterwards was made president of the Senate. So he did a lot of work during Reconstruction for Marietta, for this area, for the state. And his home was just a couple doors up here. Now, his son, one of his sons, was You can get his correct name. You think I
It's not Junior, is it?
memorize this? I don't
Is
think
it
so.
Leander Jr.? It's always
No, it's not. I think
Okay.
it's a William. Hold on. Yes, I'm right.
Okay, good. Because if it was Junior, I was going to make fun of you more.
William Jasper Trammell.
It's a good name.
So he commissioned the building of this house in 1893 when his father gave him this property as a wedding gift after he got married, okay? So 1893, William Jasper Trammell built this house, and they had 3 children and raised 3 children. Now, the child that is most, we're going to focus on most here, is Niles Trammell, but let me see.
Wasn't he like Niles? Was he Niles Leander? Was he that? Niles Newton? No, it wasn't Newton.
No.
I do like that name though. Niles Trammell.
I have his obit.
Should be in his
It
own.
just says Niles Trammell.
Okay, anyway.
I don't know. Okay, so follow me here.
I'm following.
Okay, Leander, 2 houses down, state senator after the Civil War during Reconstruction. Gave this land to his son William, who built the house in
1890 something,
1893.
Pretty close.
Okay,
That's
1893. Then one of his sons was Niles Trammell, who was raised in this house. Now Niles, here's a picture of him. I'm gonna put this down.
It's alright, it's our copy.
Okay, here's a picture of Niles on the left. Okay, you can see it.
So yeah, he's, see, finger right there, that guy.
Yes, this guy. So Niles grew up in this house, and he goes on. He goes to college in Sewanee, Tennessee, to the University of the South. He goes to the Sewanee Military College, I believe, and then he serves during World War I. And during that time, he meets some higher-ups that are involved in the National Radio Association, and gets involved in that. Well, he ends up getting hired by NBC, National Broadcasting
Corporation.
Corporation.
Company.
It's like, what's the C?
It's either company or corporation.
I got it down here somewhere. Okay, it's right here. I'll just read
Can't
it.
find our notes to
I know.
save our lives today.
National Broadcasting Company. Okay.
Oh, okay.
So that is in right after World War I. He goes to work in the National Broadcasting Company, and he rises very quickly. Within a couple of years, he's managing different sections of the company, and he moves to Chicago to work for them, and he was vice president of the Central Division of NBC from 1929 to 1939. In 1940, he became the 3rd president of NBC, and in 1949, chairman of its board. And he holds that title until his death. He doesn't hold that title, but he holds that power until his death, in 1973. He retires in the 50s. But he was very influential in our country. He was involved in, during World War II, all of the NBC broadcasting then. He was in charge of all that. But even before that, let's see, where did I have it? He was responsible for bringing, when he started with NBC, it's radio. And he's responsible for bringing the Amos and Andy show, which was a very famous show at the time, a skit comedy, to the radio. And he was also involved, funny enough, with coming up with the exact notes of the NBC chime. NBC.
Yep.
Whatever that thing is, that they still use.
Yes, they do.
Yes, Niles was involved in that, and there's a whole series of letters back and forth deciding, well, should we use ACD? Should we use DCBA? The whole thing. And so that's pretty interesting. So he was involved in that. He also he would come home. He still remembered his Marietta folks, and I don't have the year, but in the 1940s, Marietta High School decides that they want to build a memorial to Alice McClellan Burney on the side of Marietta, on the side of the old Marietta High School, which is now Marietta Middle School. And Alice McClellan Burney, of course, is our national founder of the PTA. She is born, raised, and taught here in Marietta. And so when they wanted to make this national monument to her, which is still over there at the school. So when they did this big unveiling event, they got Niles to come and broadcast it nationally over the NBC airwaves.
Yep.
So I still have not found a way to, somewhere in some repository or archive of radio, I bet there's a recording of that, and someday I would love to find that and listen to it, but we haven't found that yet. So that's Niles Trammell. So he grew up in this house, but the Trammells ended up leaving around 1913 or so, I believe. And coming after them is Homer Mcclatchy. Homer Mcclatchy and his family moved in here. Now, Homer, I've got a picture of him here as a younger man. Can you see that?
Yep.
Okay. And there's another picture here, but it's not very good. Homer he was a member of the Mcclatchy family. They were well known in Marietta at the time. His brother, D.F. Mcclatchy, owned a shop on the square. Homer was actually, he worked high up in Southern Bell Telephone Company. And so
Wait a minute.
Huh?
DF, like DF Jr.? Because his dad was a DF.
Yeah, DF Jr.
Yeah, so if you don't know where the Mcclatchy building is at the corner across the street from the pizza place. It's where the jeweler, it was Hamilton's, but I forget what it's called now. Kind of next to Doodlebugs. But yeah, sorry.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So Homer worked for the Bell Telephone Company, and he and his family were here. There's a cool article, I won't read the whole thing, but it's an Easter reception in 1913 when they're actually going to move out there. He got the company transferred him to Rome, Georgia. And so he ended up going to Rome, and they had a beautiful, big, fancy event. It says, transformed the home into a scene that would have delighted an artist or a poet. The decorations were designed by Miss Henry Minert. Minert flowers, right?
Yep.
The flowers used were white carnations, calla lilies, and they go into this great description of all the flowers involved, all the people who came. It was quite the event. So just imagine this house all dressed up with tons of flowers everywhere for a big Easter celebration, a beautiful event that in 1913 people from all over the city came to enjoy. And so he left around 1913, and James Coon Shaw moves in. Now, Mr. Shaw, we have done a full day's program on an event that he was involved in. So around 1913, he moves his family over here into this house, and in
Okay, hold on, wait a second.
what?
You said the Trammells left in 1913.
Oh, no, they left earlier.
At least I thought that's what you said.
I think I said 1910.
Okay, but anyway, in the 19-teens, Mr. Shaw comes in here after Mr. Mcclatchy lives
the
here.
years are sketchy. I don't
Okay,
have the
continue,
exact
but
years because I
continue.
didn't go to deeds to actually see who
No,
was
I didn't
involved.
either. Continue, sorry.
So base is around that time frame.
Okay.
The Mcclatchys aren't here very long because he gets transferred to Rome.
Okay, gotcha.
So fast forward to the Coon Shaw family. Coon Shaw, he raised some children here, he and his wife, but he is most well known for, well, if you go look in the newspaper articles of the day, he's well known for his barbecuing skills. But what he was actually later known for was being one of the kidnappers and lynchers of Leo Frank. And so he did indeed on the night, the date just left my mind, the Leo Frank, watch our videos, when Leo Frank was kidnapped.
Isn't it like right around now, like August 15th or something?
Oh gosh, it might be 1914.
No, 15.
1915.
But I think it's August.
Okay, August of 1915. They go down, all the lynchers go down to Milledgeville, Georgia in the middle of the night. So Coon Shaw would have left his home here, his front porch, jumped in one of the couple of carloads of guys that went down to the state penitentiary in Milledgeville and kidnapped Leo Frank, drove him back up here to Marietta, and hung him from a tree over by the Big Chicken.
August 17th. So we're, yeah.
Good job. Good job with that date. Yeah.
Thanks,
August
Wikipedia.
17th, 1915. Now, I'm not going to do the math and see how many years ago that was. I'm not gonna.
105.
Thank you.
That I could do, where you got numbers that are
105.
easy.
Oh, yeah, that's right. 5, 10, 15, 20.
Yeah, I can do that math.
Counting fives. So Coon Shaw, one of the lynchers, did live here. So there's a little bit of a dark history to this house as well. The Shaws then owned this property until it was sold to Dr. Sechrist. And which he bought in, as we heard, in the late 70s.
Yes.
So the Shaws lived here a long time. And so I, when I go in houses like that and see houses with such a dark history like that, I have to wonder, what happened under that roof?
Is there any,
what kind of conversations happened? What kind of maybe, hopefully, regrets happened? You never know. But so that's this house. You want to walk and see if we can walk in it? The front door?
No, the guys are going in through the back door. I can see them walking in. They were walking in the back.
I'm not walking.
I do have pictures of it, though. I did promise. Well, here, grab your bag first, though, too.
Ground.
That's in this door.
Okay.
But here, I'm going to walk up so everybody can kind of see. You see all these cool little, I love the windows. I don't think the skylight's original, just FYI. There is, hold on, I'm going to show them the front, because I think there is a piece, we said there was stained glass.
Yes.
But you can see there's like a little picket fence. Some of the buildings across here, like that one's intriguing me too. Y'all forgive my camera skills. It's usually Amy that does this part. That's okay, hold on. We'll get over here. So yeah, and it's got a nice like front door, stained glass. Here, we're gonna go kind of right on the walkway so it's easier.
And one of the things I was reading, it said that this is one of the best examples of Victorian architecture with so many details in the city of Marietta.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You've got the spindles, you've got the fan things. What would you call those over the windows? It's been a long time since
We're
I've
not
shown
architecture people.
I did take it in grad school, architectural history, but
I did
a long time
not.
ago. It's been a long time ago.
All right, here.
Oh, see, this says the house is 1888, so I don't know. Who's right? But
Well, here, I'm gonna switch. I'm
did
gonna
you see
take
the stained glass?
I did. Let me grab. Well, you can grab this, and
Okay.
you can grab the camera because she's better
Okay.
at that part.
I'm
than
gonna
I
take it off of here for a minute.
Okay.
Okay, so this is easier. All right,
You walk
so
around.
I'm gonna walk
move this to
Okay.
kind of our next spot.
Okay, guys, we're gonna go inside. I'm gonna be a little quiet. Hopefully, you can hear me. Okay. We are going inside door here. There are some guys working in here, so we're not gonna bother them. But you go in the side door, and we noticed earlier this is a hallway. Look in the middle of the hallway here. This is tile. This is tile. I'm imagining it's a fireplace, which I guess at one point the fireplace was right there. So, and I guess if we looked outside, we could probably see a chimney still popping up, be my guess. I didn't do that yesterday. But then you come around the corner, and you see this original stairway. Krista said there is a chimney that matches where this fireplace in the ground is. And so here's the stairwell, original. It goes all the way back in the hallway there. I went up here yesterday. It's a pretty sturdy stairwell, but see, as you can see, it's, it just needs some TLC, Somebody come in here someday, give it a little TLC. But then there's just a couple of apartments up here. Now, y'all know, I looked to see if I could get in that attic space. But it's screwed shut. So I decided not to try to unscrew it. Okay, we'll go back down. I'll try not to fall. Here we go. Some neat transoms, original transoms over the doors. Okay. Cool doorknobs, original doorknobs there. Yeah. Oh, and look up there. Look at this lighting fixture. Now the globes don't seem original, but that fixture, I think it is. I think it is. Well, if it's not original, it's old anyways. And there's another light fixture here that looks pretty old as well. I don't know if you guys can see that. Obviously it's been electrified, but yeah, that bathtub's not original. Somebody's getting a new tub. So, pretty cool. All right, we're gonna walk out this way to get to Krista, and then we'll go around the other side of the house. There she is.
Yep.
Okay. So, got some neat architectural details there. I'm gonna walk around the corner here, and you can see the back side of the house. Okay. We'll walk around this way. There's a parking lot for everybody. And there's the back end of the house. Yeah, there's a couple of fireplaces there you can see. So a couple of apartments have those fireplaces. Okay, now just to get an idea of the property, we're going to be walking around. There's a house over there we're going to get to. There are a couple back in the corner over there. We'll just walk past. But you want to go over here first?
I'm going to go in front.
Okay, we're going to follow Christa. Ow.
This is shadier.
Got a rock in my shoe. Ow, hold on, I got to shake it out. Okay.
Can't take you nowhere.
I know, sorry. Okay, here we go. Let's look at the house. All right. This is one of the other historic homes, been turned into apartments in Victorian Village. The back is actually the front.
Well,
So the front,
it does face Reynolds Street.
it faces Reynolds Street. There's a wall here. So, but I think it's interesting that when they moved this house here, they positioned it so that the front of the house was facing back, which is interesting. So,
All right, you stay right there.
stay right here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm gonna look up here.
Okay.
Okay.
Because that way we can do the parsonage too. All right, so this house was the one I showed you. So this
Okay.
is the one being moved. This is the Baker house.
Baker House.
But-
That's the one, this is the house that was on the truck
Yeah.
being pulled, okay, down the street, down Powder Spring Street.
Down Powder
And
Springs.
it was originally on the corner of Whitlock and the
No, not the corner.
No.
Next to Whitlock Inn.
next door to Whitlock. Inn.
Yeah,
Okay.
Regina's house was on the corner,
Okay.
which we'll talk about in a second. So, yeah, hold on, if you flip that back around.
Yes, there it is. Just to remind you, there's the house. Okay, see the porch and the two windows. I'm gonna step back here, and there's the two windows, and there's the porch. So it's obviously the same house.
Yeah, definitely the same house.
Yes.
Paint color is obviously matching the other buildings here. So, we got a loud bug over here.
Yeah.
So if you look, it does look like this house was put on a foundation that is newer.
Yes.
And just obviously, I don't think they rent any apartments down there. I would hope not.
I think you'll see that as a common thread. The houses they moved here, they did all of that. Actually, on the other side, were there not apartments on the back?
Oh,
end?
there might have been.
There
I
might have
wasn't
been.
paying attention.
But they did put all of these on a strong, larger foundation than they originally were.
So, the porch is obviously the same kind of footprint. If you want to walk up the steps and show them that door, because the door is amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. The stairs are not in the greatest. In the
Now, these aren't as
railing.
bad as the other
See,
ones.
check out the railing here. Let me see TLC, please. Here is the door. Oh, I'm like too close here. Hold on. Beautiful glass fronted door with some detail. It's so dark. I don't know if you guys can see that. And
I don't know if you guys can see that it does have the bell pull right there.
Oh wait, where's Ryan?
Oh, sorry.
I can't see the screen. There
Me,
it is.
right there.
There it is.
And
Open
it
the door.
does.
Open the door. Come on. Open the door. Push it back. There you go. Oh, look at this. Look at that. See, this is really pretty millwork there on the stairs. Okay, got a really nice window. So here's the original stairway going up. As we come into the hallway, a new light fixture. Some double doors. You don't need. Okay, so pretty standard hallway. Pretty standard hallway.
Yeah.
But it's got some really neat details here going up. And what the
I think we can walk out to the.
No, let's see where I can go. It's easier to get forgiveness than permission sometimes. Okay, here we go. Okay, we're going around. Going around. Okay. Alright, well, there's just some little hallways there. There's another window. Is that a cat or a child screaming?
I don't know. Could be both.
Okay.
Let's go over to the side of the porch here.
Okay.
The sun for a second. Whew.
Oh, yeah.
So it's got a nice little porch. Got different numbers.
Right. So tell us about the Bakers.
So there's really not a whole lot of information that I could find. It was built sometime around about the same time period as the Trammell house, so like 1890s, early 1880s or late 1880s. The reason it's called the Baker House is because the last known family were the Bakers, and Warren Baker had moved here in the he's here in the 1940 census, but that's the only time we see him listed here. 1950 census aren't out yet, but anyway, so they live here. But before, the person that I found living here, again, it's kind of hard because numbers change and census records aren't always correct with the dwelling number, but I believe the Duprees lived here. And when I say Duprees, I mean William Anderson Dupree and his wife Leela Banks Dupree. If you've ever been on my cemetery tours, or if you've watched the one that we've done before, those Duprees have the really beautiful Irish Celtic cross tombstone marker. That's one of my favorites. But their son, Rafe Banks Dupree, we have an extensive gun collection collected by him.
Yes, we do.
So,
and our military gallery is highlighted.
Yes.
Huge collection of guns.
Yes, huge collection. So, but he grew up in this house.
Okay.
And so it was just one of those houses that, luckily, again, I don't know any, who built it originally. The house next to it, which we'll go to in a minute, has more of the history, that I know of. But I thought we'd stand on the porch because we have a great view of this next one.
Here's the next house. And if you were to zoom in, up there, there's a little sign that says, the Parsonage House, 1912. I'm going to swap with you. Where's that red bag?
Oh, I put it down on the...
Okay, I'm going to go get the book.
Okay.
Oh, look at the house for a minute.
So, parsonage, Amy is referring to, it's actually First Baptist Church's parsonage. If you guys watched our video last week on Church and Mill Street, we talked about the parking lot where the Baptist Church and his Family Life Hall and stuff is. That parking lot was where this building stood, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
Correct. All right, you ready?
And it's also, if you can tell, it's also been added onto a whole nother level on the basement level that they added.
So now it looks 3 stories, but it was actually just 2 stories.
I have a picture of it. So this is, there's not a whole lot of information on it again, because there's not a lot to tell. It was, used by the Baptist Church to house their preachers, and, a number of weddings were held in that house, which is pretty cool. And it was built in 1912, but they were actually trying to sell it back in the 1920s. And by the 1930s, they had built a whole nother parsonage, or moved into another one on Forest Avenue. And so this one, they ended up selling or renting to doctor's offices. It stayed there as doctor's offices until the church wanted to expand it and build the Family Life Center.
Right.
So at that point, it moved over here. So,
right, and it moved over here, I guess, a little bit after the house that we're here, the Baker and Benson house, because it seemed like
early 80s.
Early 80s, like not that long after, but just a couple of years.
Let me see. Yeah, the church minutes, one of the church minutes books that they have says that on April 1st, the J.J. Black Lumber Company, which we're familiar with, and I believe they were on Atlanta Street.
They were.
Okay. Near where the art museum is now.
Yeah.
Just down from that. J.J. Black Lumber Company began construction in by July 15th, 1912. The building had been completed at a cost, including the land, of $4,902. Woo! This building would be used for many years, later sold to a group of doctors for office space, and eventually bought back by the church, get this, for a cost of $50,000.
Wow, what a return on investment from that one company.
For that one company. The doctors made some bank on that
Yeah, the church didn't.
And again, this is the first, this is coming out of First Family Memoirs, 150-year history of the First Baptist Church of Marietta, Georgia. I don't know if this is in publication or not anymore.
Yeah, that's my copy for the museum.
And then this is a picture of it on Church Street. This building was moved in 1982, so here's a picture of it.
There you go.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think they've added, I think the little porch up top is added.
Perhaps,
and then you can see the back stairwell, the side stairwell, that's obviously added. That's more for fire code than anything, but yeah, it's a nice little building.
That's the parsonage.
Yeah.
Want to walk around? I'm going to get the bag. We'll walk around to the other house?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm just going to go down this way. So this wall right here was actually constructed for historic preservation by Phil Sechrist. It was in the, it says I hit the column, whoops. It was put in the early 1980s. The idea was to kind of mimic the fencing that the governor's mansion has. So that's what the idea was. So it's just a stucco, I'm sure, you know, cinder block. And then the idea too with Victorian Village was to have these light posts that gave off that kind of old Victorian gaslight feel. They are not gaslight, they are clearly light bulbs in there. But so you guys saw, oh, I'll show you the side here. This is the side of the house. You can see here. Now this little building to the left is actually the newer build. That one was newer as in 1988. So yeah, that one is not as, it's not the historic.
We're not quite sure what the use of it is right now. Well,
I'm wondering if it was like a sales office at one point, or
maybe.
a rental office.
Yeah.
But yeah, so okay, so this is like, we're walking over to what I would deem the other half of the property. And there's 4 houses over here, 3 which are like 1920s, 1930s. One is called the Shaw Cottage. You don't know which Shaw lived there, right?
No.
No,
I don't know.
we kind of didn't go into detail on these, but I do know that the one in the middle came later. It kind of came in the like, I think after 1983 it was what we kind of determined. But this one, that one right there.
That's a beauty.
It's a beauty. This is the Benson house. There are a few houses that can be referred to as the Benson house. Some people might refer to Mockingbird Hill as the Benson house. Some people might refer to
Mockingbird Hill.
Mockingbird Hill, yeah.
Where's that one?
I don't know, nearby.
I can't remember.
I didn't research that. It's for sale right now. Though. And I think
I know
it's
the
over
name. I
off
can't
of
remember which
McDonald's.
house. Okay.
And then the garden center can also be termed a Benson house as well.
That's right.
Different branches.
Okay.
Or Mockingbird Hill is not, but okay. Let's put this on the tripod for a minute, so I don't have to keep holding this back.
Or I can hold it. I'll hold it because we'll be moving around. It's just easier to move around.
Okay.
Yeah.
So okay. Well, first off, back to the house, please.
Okay.
You see the lovely curved staircases. Those
Yes.
are not original.
Not original. Let's go up closer to it. You want to? So you can see. They are not original, and I walked up them and they about fell down. So, and I'm going to attribute that to age of the stairs, not weight of the person. So yeah, you look up. Here's another view. Okay. Hey, great call.
What?
Yeah, did we find a year on this house though? We don't know when it was
it's in the
built.
like 1930s is what
Okay,
tax
1930s,
records say.
Okay.
So okay, I'm going to show them this picture. This is what the house looked like
Oh wow, beautiful.
on Whitlock.
Oh wow.
Okay, so this
Yes.
was on the corner
Where the bank is.
where the bank is now. Yeah. And then right next door was the house we just showed, the Baker house.
Okay. Wow. And
And
here it is
then-
now.
Okay, so this house is pre-Civil War.
Okay.
Okay, so pre-Civil War, somewhere around 1842, 1845.
Incredibly old house. One of the oldest in our area.
Yeah. So this house was built. What you see now was built from a smaller structure, which is not uncommon. People would buy or purchase a 4-room house and then expand onto it. So James Smith from Beaufort, South Carolina, bought a 4-room house and built a bigger house, which you see now. The reason he came here was he was friends with the Glovers, early Marietta. His brother, Dr. Sidney Smith, was living in Rockford, which is over off of Manning Road.
It's right behind Marietta High School.
Yes, right behind Marietta High School.
The new high school.
The new high school, yeah. But the columns that you see in the 2-level porch, that he added on,
Okay.
along with the second story.
Okay.
So that style I've heard referred to as like the Beaufort style. So you could, I mean, you've seen other houses like that. I don't know if there's any around here, but that's not an uncommon look.
Yeah.
So the Smith family stays here all the way up until Sherman's forces come through. Very similar to like the Artist family in the video we did a couple weeks ago about the Artist home on Church Street. They stay here once Sherman comes through in 1864. They flee, they come back, James dies. The wife is then living in the house with their 3 children, 2 daughters and a son. One daughter marries. She marries a man named Nichols. They then move into this house afterwards. So you see her referred to as the Smith-Nichols house. And then when Mama Smith dies in 1917, the Nichols family sells the property to the newlywed couple, Dr. Warren Benson and Regina Rambo. That is a whole video unto itself about Regina. I'll just tell you right now.
Yes, it is.
I have researched her and talked about her for well over 10 years at this point. She is...
Even dressed like her.
I've even dressed like her numerous times. So this is the picture of the family. Hold on, and then I'll go back to the house in a second. In their swim garb, around 1925.
Look at them.
So that's Dr. Benson, Regina, daughter Regina, and then son Warren Jr. So Regina and her children live in this house all the way up until Regina's death in the 1960s. They own the house all the way up until it's moving here. Dr. Benson actually dies in 1928.
Okay.
He went to go, he was, doctors back then would make house calls. Went to go do a house call, slipped on icy stairs, hit his head, and died days later from meningitis.
Oh my gosh.
So Regina was left to raise her 3 young children in this house. I believe she ran a business making medicines.
Oh.
Making medicine.
What she got out the back door there?
Well, she had to make money for her kids.
Making medicines.
And then she also ran for political office in 1932 on a 1-plank platform, as she puts it.
Okay.
That plank being ending prohibition.
Hey!
Yeah, that's why she's my favorite.
Man, she's got the medicine. She's got like the liquors going.
She
flowing
does,
freely.
and she was an avid fan of The Young and the Restless.
Oh,
that was a story the grandchildren told me. Is when she would go on vacation, one neighbor would take notes about what happened on The Young and the Restless, and when the neighbor went on vacation, she would take notes.
Nice, nice.
So, but yeah, so it's the Smith-Nichols-Benson home. And as promised, the house being moved. I have a picture of it too. So you can see that they took off the front porch.
Okay.
And if you guys noticed in the other picture, there were like porticos or whatever.
Yes,
those are gone.
Yes,
obviously.
Right.
And then obviously it's only 2 stories, so this basement level is in addition, and that's why the staircases are in addition as well.
Okay.
So yeah, so
you're not done talking about her, are you?
What more do you want me to say?
What about the Good Roads tour?
I told you I could talk about her.
Just mention that.
Okay. Well, long story short on Regina, she was born in Brazil. Her father was one of the first American dentists in Brazil.
Nice.
Moved back here with her parents and brother when she was needing to go to school. I don't know why they didn't like the Brazilian schools, but whatever. So she was born in 1888. Her family, or 1886, sorry. Her family then, she grew up in Mockingbird Hill.
Okay.
1910, she participates as the only female driver in the Georgia Good Roads Tour, which is that was a 1,000-mile tour across the state of Georgia promoting better road conditions. And she served as her own mechanic, did all of her own work.
She was the only woman, right?
She was the only woman driver, but there were women in the car. Like she had other women in the car with her.
Yeah, but she was the only woman in the race.
Yeah,
driver.
Yes, but you would list who was in your car.
Yeah, okay.
So she wasn't the only one. So only woman driver, but there were other woman participants.
Yeah, like you said, she was her own mechanic.
Own mechanic.
And these roads were not paved. They were trying to get funds to pave roads. These are all dirt and mud and stuck.
They have stops across the entire state, kind of going from Atlanta down to Macon, down to Albany, and then across all the way to like Savannah and then back around. So she, every time she was checking in, she would call her dad, check in, because he told her the only way to participate is you had to know your car, which I think is sound advice.
Gotta know it.
So she would call the Mcclatchy store
every
time to check in. let everybody know she was doing all right.
Okay.
One of her passengers, well, one passenger was her sister. The other one was the governor's wife, so I'm pretty sure they were going to be okay.
Yeah.
After that, she serves, I mean, she does everything. She
was the first woman to run for a state
office. And that was her one plank platform.
Yeah, okay. Oh, you did say that.
I did.
I know. You know.
She also
Squirrel.
She served on multiple organizations, theater guilds, arts, very heavy into the arts.
Ran the Red Cross during World War II.
Did Red Cross work. Served as a gray lady at the hospital. Raised her kids all while doing this, because he died. 10
The original
years after.
Supermom.
Pretty much. Taught dance classes while pregnant in the 1920s. Scandalous!
What?
Yeah, she was pregnant teaching dance classes. In
Good for her.
1920s, that's not that wouldn't good up.
Yeah.
But she definitely, from what I've been understood, she was a person that people either loved her or she just rubbed them the wrong way. She was one of those personalities, which that's why she's always fascinated me, because she just was kind of larger than life. She was always referred to by her daddy as Sunshine.
Oh.
So I always love that one.
Yes.
But yeah, so this is her home.
All
and then
right.
her daughter, Regina, the little
Walk
girl in
around
the
over
picture, was the one who donated it or sold it to move over here. And then this house actually had a slave cabin behind it.
Okay.
And
Right.
the slave cabin, Regina Goldsworthy Stott, the daughter. I know it's hard to do that way. She donated that cabin to Dr. Seacrest. He had students from the Southern Poly, and I want to say Marietta High School.
Yeah, I think so.
Like a bunch of different schools. Had them take it down piece by piece and move it to his property on Frank Kirk Road.
So the question that we're wondering, which we haven't found the answer to yet, is the slave cabin still on the property on Frank Kirk Road? So if anybody knows, we would love to know, just to have knowledge on that. So I think that's about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, it's a little hotter out here than I thought it was.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was not as bad as last week. Okay, so the next 2 weeks, we have pre-recorded videos, since we will be educating children along with other parents.
Cobb County Virtual Learning has hit this museum's history department.
So we pre-recorded some videos. She obviously knows what they are. I know what they are, but we will not tell you what they are, except that they are surprises from the collection. And we had fun filming those too. They were
Yeah, they were. It
eye-opening
was
for
fun.
both of us.
It was fun. A lot of
So
fun.
yeah, so we'll be back live and in person. I guess September.
Yes.
That'd be right. Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. First week of September.
First Friday in September we'll be back, but the next 2 weeks we will have videos. They're just pre-recorded.
Yes. So, if you're on YouTube, like the video and subscribe. If you're not on YouTube, go to YouTube and like the video and subscribe.
I gotta put it on YouTube first. It'll probably be up Sunday.
Yeah, it's not on there yet.
All the other videos, if you haven't watched any of our others, they're already all
They're
up
archived
on there.
on YouTube as well.
And,
Yeah.
so yeah, but like our Facebook, like Instagram, like all the things that are Marietta Museum.
Yes.
And have a great weekend. To all those parents who are teaching soon, we can do it. To all those Marietta parents who have started it, any tips would be greatly appreciated. And otherwise, we will see you live back here in person in September.
All right. Bye, guys. Thanks.